everybody. I want to show you what I did because I did this off camera, but I wanted my background colors to not, you know, blend into each other too much or have like some kind of vanishing point. I wanted to have the background colors pop a little bit while they're staying faded in the background. So in order to get this look, once you get something on the canvas like that, and it's watery, you let it dry, not all the way. And then you just take a sponge or even a wet rag or whatever, a damp rag. This is damp. And you just wipe it like this. And that will give you, like, see where the edges are. That's where the paint was drier. And it makes it, it's hard right there. So you can get that look, kind of like a distressed look. Okay, now, maybe we'll do it again when I add this. I don't know, just depends on how this turns out. Okay, now we're going to add the mixture of the steel and the brown. Mixing it up here and just kind of spreading it around. And this paint, it's on the thicker side too. It's not quite as flowy. I don't have a lot of flow stuff in here, but I do have it mixed like my other normal mix. I have a little Floetrol in there, a little water. I do not have the gloss medium in this one. I just have Floetrol and water, and mixing that up like that. Now, what I'm going to do is wet it with my spray bottle. Just kind of move it around a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and take the sponge though and dab some of that off there, because I want more blue than I do the taupe. Gonna run it down. Now we're gonna let that dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you take the sponge to it. You get a little bit more wet there. Tipping and tilting it. This has been drying, probably been about 20 minutes, and it's still wet, as you can see, still kind of drippy in some spots. So now you take your damp sponge and you go over it like this. See how it's sticking like that? The drier parts will stick. Gives you that distressed look. And see, I almost waited too long, and this is, I'll tell you how I know, because see how this was too wet over here, and that's why it's kind of blending in more of like that smoky look. So I want to maybe see if I can re-wet it. Sometimes you can re-wet that part and get the blue to pop through more, like down here. Now my sponge is getting muddy, so I'm going to grab a rag. Just kind of go over it like that, because I don't want brown stripes and strips in there. All right, now let that dry. The canvas is still like damp, a little bit of damp to the touch. It only takes about, I want to wait about 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes just to get it really dry. And then we'll go over it one more time with the teal peacock color and do the distressing again, because we're doing layers. And I don't really want the, I don't want any streaks in there. I just want some layers. All right, you guys, isn't that cool? Let's make a really cool background for, you know, different things that you guys want to paint. It's kind of neat. Turn it around. Get a different look. All right, let that dry, and we're going to dry a little better. We're going to go ahead and do the peacock one more time, and then we'll start on our crimson and clover. Let's do some of this peacock final coat. Splash a little bit of water from the spray bottle on there. Stir this up a little bit because it's sitting a while, the peacock has. So I'm going to try and cover some of the white spots a little bit so they're not so white. Dry a little bit, and then we take the damp sponge and swipe with the sponge. All right, well, I'm going to take a blow dryer to it. Let that dry up, and then we swipe. Okay, everybody, I put a blow dryer to it for about 30 seconds until I can get it a little dry so I can keep moving with this project. Not sure if that's dry enough to start swiping, but let's try it because we don't want it to get too dry. Okay, let's see here. All right, I think that's good. Yeah, there we go. The white's not so bold. It's pretty, and I'm going to put this teal on the sides a little bit. So get that nice look to it. Still not quite sure how I'm going to finish that, the sides. I'm just figuring out this color right now. All right, everybody, that's looking good. I don't want lines and stuff like that. That's a nice background for the crimson and clover, you guys. Okay. All right, let that canvas dry a little bit. Naturally, I don't want to put a blow dryer to it anymore because I don't want my paints that are on there, like in these areas right in here, to get too thick on the top coat first. I don't want that to dry up and then underneath be wet. I want it to be completely dry before I put on the other two colors. Okay, everybody, let's let that sit. Okay, it's completely dry and ready for the next colors. So let me show you guys a close-up of this before we get going with the crimson and clover. I love making backgrounds for things, or just painting something and let it dry and paint it again. Give it some layers and some dimension, and it's fun. Okay. All right, everybody, that's that. Let's get started. Let's make a painting. Let's try to relax and listen to some music, and let's make a crimson and clover. fun time. It was nice and relaxing. And I was deep in thought. I did a crimson and clover painting with a splash of some deep purple. It's really, really pretty, just to give it a little added touch of a pop. It's really pretty, and I'm going to do something to the middle of it because this is just a background. And we'll see how that turns out. I'm not quite ready for that yet. I want to stare at this for a week and figure out what I want to do. Or actually, this is kind of pretty, and I might even put resin over it. I don't know. Anywho, thank you for watching. Arrivederci, everybody.